Hi, I'm scared. In my 24 years of life, I haven't been gifted very well. It kind of feels like everything around me is crumbling. My parents died in a car crash shortly after I was born. I was then given to my grandparents, who, for the earlier years of my life, did take good care of me. It wasn't until I was around my late teens that I started getting into arguments with my grandparents often. I mean, they're nice people, but they feel strongly about a lot of issues that I have. I don't, don't, or I don't or didn't know what I wanted to do with my life yet. I'm kind of just existing. My grandparents wanted me to go to college, but I hated that idea. I hated school for my entire life. All of my friends slowly started leaving me. They were going to college and venturing on with their own lives, while I stayed in this shit town that I lived in. I got a dead-end job at a car dealership, and it's safe to say that my career path is looking pretty terrible. Then, my grandpa died when I was 20. He died of a heart attack while I wasn't home, and my grandma couldn't really bear it. I'll just say that they left me the house, a big empty house for a dead-end working man. I'm not okay after my grandma and my grandpa. It scared me. I remember the morning I was going downstairs to tell them that I was leaving for work, and then I found her on the floor. Ever since then, I have been slowly spiraling down in agony and pain. I would take weeks off to work just to sit in my room and think. The only friends I really had left would come over to my house and check if I was okay, but I never really answered. I didn't really want to see anybody. Last week, I decided I need to start putting my shit life back in order. I've been constantly attending work, and recently I've been trying to get interested in this new book and movie series. I started going to the local bar after work, and I even met this girl, and we've been hitting it off pretty well. Just anything to stop making me think about what happened. Now, the reason I'm making this post is 2 days ago, my house got broken into. It was at night, around 3 a.m. I know this because I have 3 Ring doorbell cameras around my house, one at the front, back, and left side door. I was asleep when this happened, so when I woke up, I saw the alarm went off on my phone. What I presumed to be a man. He was wearing an all-black outfit and a ski mask on. He was abnormally tall. I would have to say 6'4" or even taller. The video shows him walking up to the side of my house at my door and proceeded to pick the lock and open it. The side door of my house was always a bit dingy, so I wasn't surprised that he was able to get in that easily. I was also freaking the fuck out at the moment, so I sped up the recording to make sure that he exited my house, and to my relief he did. But it wasn't right. Something about the whole situation. I was watching the recording of him leaving my house, and the time code at the top right of my screen said 5:37 a.m. Just as a reminder, it was at 3 a.m. when he entered the house. Now, if you ever seen any sort of movie that involves a robbery or whatever, you would know that most criminals try to be as fast as possible with their steals. I'm assuming that he's entering my house to steal stuff, but this man was in my house for over 2.5 hours. My heart was beating out of my fucking chest. I stayed in my room while I called the police. They told me they would send a patrol car out to check if everything's fine. Once I hung up with them, I left my room and made sure to bring a weapon with me. Now, my room is on the top floor, so when I go out into the hallway, I can see a pretty sizable amount in the living room. Something was off though. My grandparents would often collect antique items. One of them is a vase, and it practically said "Steal Me" written on it. Now maybe somebody wouldn't steal a vase, it might be too big. But my wallet was also on the same table, and inside of that was about 3 or 4 20s that I left in there. Something that could be easily stolen. And I'm assuming they looked around a lot because they were in there for almost 2.5 hours. Anyways, the vase was still there and the money in my wallet. It wasn't stolen. It wasn't stolen. And that scares me. If I broke into the house, I think that might have been one of the first things I would have taken, the money in the wallet. Especially seeing a wallet on a table would, prompt somebody to open it, I feel like. I explored the house a little more, and to my horror, nothing was taken. It was wrong. Why the fuck would somebody break into my house, stay in there for 2 hours, and not take anything? The police arrived. I told them I counted the story and showed them the footage. I also told them that I found nothing stolen. I think it's general knowledge that most police officers try to keep their cool and not show any sort of emotion when they're on the job. But when I told him, he just looked at me. He asked multiple times to make sure nothing was stolen, and he seemed very nervous about it. It's 2 days later, and luckily I've become much more acquainted with the girl that I met at the bar. I told her about the story and decided... It's 2 days later, and luckily I've become much more acquainted with this girl that I met at the bar. I told her about the story, and she decided to let me crash at her place for a few nights, which was much needed. I also practically boarded up that side door in my house. It's the only door in the house that doesn't have an alarm on it, and I don't use it anyways. I feel much better away from that house. It's old and I don't know. I just don't like it. But still, the idea of what happens keeps me awake. If anyone might have any answers or the possibility of what might happen, then I would love that. Thank you all. Please, be safe out there.